starting to get really overwhelmed with tons of new products flooding in to my mail drop. So we're going to start doubling up a little bit. Today we're going to talk all about brand new products from Prada, complexion products, and a new eyeshadow palette, the Appley in Love from Too Faced. You're going to learn all about both of those products here today with me, Rebecca. I am a over 20-year veteran of fashion and beauty journalism. And as magazines die down a little bit in this digital world, I have brought not fit for print beauty here so that you guys have a little bit of a digital beauty magazine to kind of flip through, so to speak, every day or so here on YouTube. All right, let's get into it. Throughout the video, I will be working solely today with BK Beauty brushes, a wonderful, wonderful source for synthetic brushes, the most relied upon source from me and from everyone I know for synthetic brushes. And I don't know if you realize, but we're celebrating 5 years of BK Beauty starting today, or depending upon when you're watching this video. So let's say the 30th of July, 2024, all the way through Monday, August 5th. The BK Beauty anniversary sale is on. That's 20% off site-wide, and actually savings on top of savings if they've already bundled something. So it's actually 20 to 35% off across the entire site. If you are very particular about your synthetic brushes, you will love the BK Beauty brushes. What are my recommendations? Always the 101 brush, always the concealer brush, whether it's in the Nikki LaRose concealer, the BK Beauty concealer, the Angie Hot and Flashy concealer brushes. To me, their complexion brushes are the best. So we will be using some of those when we work with our Prada products, since they're complexion products. But on the Too Faced, we will be using their eye brushes, which I love as well. So just a reminder, I will have information below and a link for you below to use to the BK Beauty sale. So make sure that you do that, as it helps out this channel. All right, let's get started talking about these products, and then we can try them on. We are halfway through a wear test with the Prada right now on one side of my face only. I will not tell you which. So let's just talk about what we have here. This came into Nordstrom and then went. It's sold out immediately. So I should be able to link this when it comes back, because it's going to rear its head somewhere. Depends when you're seeing this video. You might have the gift of time where you can say, Rebecca, what are you talking about? That's everywhere. Remember, upon filming, it really isn't, and it came in and out of Nordstrom so fast it surprised me. So we have two Prada complexion products. The Prada Extending the Refined Blurring Primer we have here. This is $50. Comes in a universal shade 0. It's a blurring primer, very silicone-y primer. Has a slight botanical texture to it. Has a little top like that. Easy to use, makes the skin feel very, very smooth. We are in the middle of that wear test, and you'll see me applying this in just a moment here. They also released the refillable Prada setting powder for $90. Don't be so shocked by the prices. It's Prada. It's got the little Prada triangle in the middle, and this is a blurring setting powder, which they don't make a lot of talk about in the literature I've seen, but it's green, and we do know that when we are talking about color correcting, green is your best to battle red. But for the most part, it is basically a translucent, slightly leaning green, a green translucent, if there is such a thing. It seems to be a very nice powder. Again, we're in the middle of a wear test, so I'll let you see that as we go. Let's look at some ingredients here. The ingredients first in the primer, and then the setting powder. And you might have to freeze that screen just so you can see it a little bit better. But we'll be talking about that and trying it on and letting the wear test go. The bigger part of this video will then go with our brand new big 18 shade palette from Too Faced. This is the Appley in Love palette. It is $54 and it has 18 apple inspired shades in neutrals, reds, greens, and kind of caramel colors. And the scent is supposedly caramel apples. The thing about Too Faced is, if you don't like scented products, you don't really have to worry, because as you leave the lid open, it goes away. You become kind of nose blind, as they would say, to it very quickly. I don't know if I smell caramel apple. I'm sorry to disappoint you. because there's a little bit of a spice factor to it that I feel like caramel apple would be more straight up sugar. And this is, I'm getting some hints of cinnamon. It's like wine tasting or something. I'm getting some sort of hints of cinnamon. So there's a little bit like of a spiciness in there. I don't think caramel apple. If you told me cinnamon apple, spiced apple, I would go for it. You know, we're used to seeing these big palettes from Too Faced for the holidays. You know, about cocoa and snowmen and cookies and Christmas morning and all that sort of stuff. And so maybe that's a spice shade that they're, you know, mold spice, and that's it. It's a little cinnamony. That's what it is. It's cinnamony. The one thing I will give this palette, though, if we look at the shades again, is it is definitely appley shades, and I think a little bit unique. People were getting a little bored of what they saw was the same old with all of these big pan palettes from Too Faced, and I do think this is a little bit of a departure. But if there was something that you would like to see it really compared to, there wasn't anything it was similar to enough for me to bring out the comparisons. We are going to have some swatches in 2 different lights, but there wasn't anything that was quite similar enough, so I didn't. But if you need to see something or 1 or 2 shades compared, I do that over on Instagram. Just ask me here or send me a DM over on Instagram or comment on Instagram, and then I will I'll fix you up, I promise. Okay? All right. Let's take a look at some ingredients first. Here's the ingredients on this palette, because with it being fragrance, I'm sure you guys might be curious in case you have any allergies or migraines. This doesn't set off my allergies or migraines. Their scents are always fairly pleasant and fairly innocuous, but fragrance is fragrance, so I wanted to show that to you. Let's go to some swatches in 2 different lights of the Too Faced Appley in Love. Here are the indoor swatches of these 18 apple-inspired shades in many different formulas. Mattes, shimmers, glitters even. They're really pretty, actually. But let's take a look at it really well outside in the warm California sunshine. Not too hot yet today, but it will get there, trust me. Very, very pretty little colors, actually. And I think a little bit different, a little bit, I was going to say brighter, but I know the Italian Spritz palette was super bright. But this goes brighter on the kind of reds and greens. They really do appear to be kind of appley shades, candy apple shades, caramel apple shades. Hey, if you haven't already subscribed, I would love it if you could do so. Plus, don't forget, follow me over on Instagram, TikTok, Threads. We're everywhere now, including Facebook, where you can join us for free. Helen is running the heck out of that over there. Thank you so much, Helen. And don't forget that you can join us for a membership here on YouTube. We got everything going down. Less than $5 a month for the membership. And the money all goes back into buying this stuff to put all over my face and try out with you guys. Also, don't forget, anything we're looking at, you can look at down below, linked, or where available, I will put it up here on YouTube Shopping, so you can see it on the screen while you're watching the video. All right, we have to try out a lot of products here, so let's first go back in time a little bit to when I'm applying to only one side of my face these Prada products, then we'll launch into the eyeshadow. Stay right there. All right, let's play with these Prada products first. I do have a little bit of concealer on. It's not going to mess with the primer because it's here and it's here. It's not really in the spaces you would put primer. And I kind of want to do half the face first anyway with both this primer and the powder. Now the powder really hits me quickly with the scent. The primer doesn't. Maybe a little bit of a kind of a botanical scent, but nothing offensive. So I'm going to do both sides of the face, but just for testing, let's kind of put some on the back of my hand here and just do the right side of my face and see if this does instantly blur. Well, I'll tell you what it does right away. It gives that very kind of silicone-y feeling to my skin. So this side of my face just feels, you know, normal from morning skincare. And this side feels slick, you know, like silicone. Doubt you're going to be able to see any sort of a difference with the naked eye on camera. But I am just, the reason I put on a little bit of concealer is I just kind of want to wear it like this all day and see what happens. I'll do both sides, of course. But all right, let's look at some of this powder, which is so interesting because it's green and refillable. And as I told you, I do, you know, I don't know. We're going to use BK Beauty brushes today in honor of their sale. This is green, so I can certainly use that to brighten any sort of redness. And so I'm going to put that over the eye. We're just putting it on this side right now. This is a BK Beauty 110 brush that I like to use to powder around my nose and such. I'm not powdering the whole face. I'm just going to kind of set here. This is a translucent shade. I did do the T-zone. Okay, so this side now has primer and now has powder. And why don't we actually just leave the other side with nothing on it? Let's do that, okay? No, I'm around the house anyway. Both sides have concealer, but we're just going to use this right side here, has the primer and the powder. The left side has nothing. So we'll see kind of how that holds up all day. That'll be a fun little test, won't it? All right, I'm going to go off camera and get the rest of my face ready with no primer or powder on this side. And we're just going to let it go all day, and then we'll come back and play with this eyeshadow from Too Faced. So stay tuned. I have applied basic, kind of a little bit of color over, over this, and it's been about 2 hours. I've already filmed the intro with this on my face on only this side, and the difference is definitely there. Under my eyes, much less creased. My pores are much more blurred from the primer. The skin feels very soft and slick. It would be a lovely surface to put foundation over. It doesn't pill. You can kind of tell if you rub it hard a little bit. It's not going to pill. And it's staying nice and bright. Very pretty products, actually. Smell isn't cloying or annoying. That scent of the quick whiff from the powder is completely gone. And after about 2 hours, I can state that my skin is looking better. The pores underneath, everything. Yes, we will not be able to test longevity of foundation over this, that's true, but I'm really looking at it. It really brags about how it's a pore minimizer, and I thought we would check that out, and redness from the powder. So that's this side, a little bit of blush over both sides, but only primer and powder on this side. All right, we are going to be working with the Too Faced Appley in Love palette with all BK Beauty brushes. So let's start with this blender, and this is a BK Beauty 202. And we're going to go in right here. Sweet on You looks like it's the name of it. I love the way they name their palettes. We'll do 2 different eye looks. I will try. I'm not a big fan, you guys, of really bright and dark eye looks, but I know those are the shades you're most interested in to see if they perform well. So we'll get in there. All right, so that's just a little bit of a kind of priming that eye. And I'm going to use Slice Baby right here. The names, they must have so much fun at those meetings when they name these. I once spoke, because you guys know, as I always say, I'm a journalist. I once interviewed all the people over at Essie Nail Polish when they were a lot younger of a brand. And I interviewed Essie, actually. And they spoke about how they named their nail polishes. And they would just basically have like a table they would sit around and they would throw out names. It was kind of a party. And they thought it was, they looked forward to it. And it was really fun and collaborative. I wonder if that's how they work it at Too Faced. I actually don't know. I know about the nail polish, but. Okay, so very pretty. Those shades work really well. All right, we are going to stick with this same brush. Heaven help me. Well, no, maybe we'll switch it up because I do want to show you quite a few different BK Beauty brushes. This is the 203 brush. Let's go into this red right here. And we're doing this for 3 reasons. One of them being just to terrify me, but also just to see what does this look like in this red shade? How does it look kind of in the corner here? How does it blend? And does it make me look like I've got just crazed allergies? Does it look like someone brought a horse in here? I am most allergic to horses, but I don't live in horse country, so it's not like it comes up a lot. So let's see. That blends very nicely. And is kind of going into a muted maroon. That was the shade So Snackable. I haven't had a really good crisp apple that's so fall. What a great idea for a fall palette. I haven't had a great crisp apple in a while, actually. All right, let's look at some of these. Here we go. We have, oh, okay, so we got Sweetie Pie. Let's do that one here. Let's do Sweetie Pie. Same brush that we were just playing with. And I think Sweetie Pie might, that's a shimmer shade. Let's try the fingers. Yes, much better with the fingers. So I can tell you already, And I don't know how you'll feel about this, but I like these kind of shimmer shades better with the finger than with the brush. I don't think it made much of an impression with the brush, but I'm willing to try again. Let's go in with this BK Beauty 204, and let's go in right here. And this shade is called Smitten. So we're going to go into Smitten right there. So that's really a pretty soft look. Tried out a few of the glitters. This Smitten worked well with the brush and one of those darker, harsher shades. All right, let's move to the other eye. Try out some new BK Beauty brushes while we're at it. Don't forget about that sale. This is a brush 212. So let's go into the 212 and how about this one? This one is called Caramel Apple. So let's go into Caramel Apple and just put that all over my eye. It's one of the caramel shades. All right, and then sticking with that brush, let's go into this green. Oh, heaven help me. This one's called Pick Me. Okay, just tapping a little bit of that off. And I'm staying with that same fluffy blending brush because this is such a shocking shade. I kind of didn't want too much of it on. That's why I stuck with that blending brush. But it's blending out beautifully. Not sticking, wasn't budging, wasn't hard to work with. Again, these really brighter shades are not my general personal favorite, but I know it is the measure of whether or not a palette is any good or not. So let's go now into, I think I'm gonna switch it up and go to, I kind of want to see this. So this is Slice Slice Baby right here. Okay. Okay, so that's just gonna do, oh, that's a pretty, I was reading the names, they're on the top of it, not underneath it. The lighting makes it very hard for me to read names on a palette. I really should just put them in afterwards. But this one is Slice Slice Baby, and I am loving that. Do you know what this reminds me of right away? Do you remember I played with the green single shadow shade that came in the Chanel green box? This kind of looks like it, that kind of green with gold flecks, and it's actually a little more impactful. So what do you know? Wow. That's really pretty. And then I want to go underneath the eye, I think, with, trying to get creative here, guys. I'm going to take a, oh boy, let's just do it. I'm going to take a BK Beauty 209 brush and go in here to Turnover. Just because I want to try it out. It works. Just because it matches the gold. Flip it out a little bit. Now we have a pink eye look and a kind of green inspired eye look, both of which I like very much. I don't know about that Turnover shade I added. I just wanted to see how the shade performed. Get some of those deep dark mattes in there for you guys. All right, interesting. Let me go off camera now. I'm going to leave these two silly eyes. Come back in a few hours so we can have a little bit of a better amount of time under our belt to look at these Prada products. I'm dividing my attention because we have so many darn new releases. I'm trying to fit them all in. Oh, stay right there. For you, that was only a couple of seconds. For me, it was a lunch and a reapplication of my Guerlain lip balm. And now we can take a look at what's happening with the face. Forget about the two different eye looks. That was in the Too Faced portion. Let's take a look at what we have going on here on my face. There is definite, I do not have any foundation on. Longevity of foundation would be something else to test. I agree if that's what you're thinking. But I do tend to get enlarged pores here and around the nose, and where I have powdered and used that primer, there's none. It's doing a very good job of that. Here in the T-zone, a little bit of the powder has kind of gathered there a little bit, and it looks like it maybe needs to be distributed a bit better. But that was an easy fix right there with my finger, and it is keeping all the pores at bay and around this area too. I do see a little bit less redness in the cheeks where I used the slightly green tinged powder and didn't use any powder over here, but did apply blush. Remember, I do not have any foundation on. The concealer I have is around the eyes and around the nose. So I think that's a pretty good test. And it's a pretty good product. awfully pricey. What did I say those Pradas were? $50 and $90. You're going to say to me, is it worth $140? No. I mean, it's darn good. And if you're a completionist and you like Prada, and I do like their products, I think this is these are great products. I really do. Do I think that you have to spend $140 in order to have great products? No, I do not think so. So that's my situation there. If you want to get them for yourself, I think you're going to enjoy them. If you're like, my complexion can never be perfect unless I have those, that's your mistake in there. In terms of the Too Faced Appley in Love, I think we tried a little smattering of the shades, and I think they performed very nicely. I don't get caramel apple from the scent. I get spiced apple, if that's important to you. But I do think it's a really rich, pretty color story that's a little different than some of the others we've been getting for them, like from Holiday and such. So I think it'd be a worthwhile one to try. And we are back in the tin. I didn't mention that. A lot of people missed the tin, and it's back. I should have said that first off. The tin is back, and so many people were complaining about that when they went just cardboard with their holiday palette. So I should have said that right away. The tin is back. Yay! Welcome back, tin. And it's a pretty one too. Got the apples that stick out on it. Really, really pretty packaging on this one. Okay, so I think well worth it. All really good products across this table today. But please also do not forget about this 20 to 35% off at BK Beauty on now and through the 5th, Monday, the 5th of August. Great savings on great synthetic brushes that are really reliable and really help putting on your makeup. Make it super easy. It applies itself, and they are reliable and synthetic. Amazing. Everything will be linked below, except also what I can also download, what I can also put up here on the screen. I like to do that as well. So for YouTube shopping, make sure that you like, make sure you share. If you can subscribe to this channel, it is always a wonderful help to me. I've got so much coming up throughout the week. I've got Pat McGrath Newness. I have Bobbi Brown Foundation Newness. Laura Mercier Eyeshadow Pencil Newness. I have, oh my gosh, you name it, Christian Dior. Of course, I haven't even gone to Natasha Denona yet. I just can't get all of these off of my plate to do. When it rains, it pours. Make sure you subscribe, and I'll see you all, I hope, in the next video. Bye-bye.